Oh, come on.
Hello.
Are you home or out and about?
Hello there.
Are you home or out and about?
I'm at home.
Let me call you back.
The number you have dialed is busy. Please try your call again later.
Oh, come on.
The number you have dialed is busy.
Hello.
We're gonna have to use this one because the other one keeps coming up as busy. So
Coming up as busy?
yeah, we got to go in. We're live, so hang tight.
Okay, sorry.
We're back at it again. Joe Messina, your host. Always a pleasure to have you with me. 855-REAL-JOE, 855-732-5563. Look, get involved, get engaged, be part of the solution. I love it when you're part of the solution. You know, I mean, seriously. With what went down, I'm still stuttering from the other day. Okay. With the now, I kind of knew one of the rulings coming down from SCOTUS where it was going to end up, right? I shouldn't say that. I should say I felt like I knew where it was going to end up. So it did. So I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed. But the guy who has a clue, because I don't, Brad Dacus joins us as he does pretty much every week. And I asked him to come on early to help calm my nerves, to help me feel better about all of this. And Brad, thanks for being with me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be on the program as always. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're not happy about all this either.
Yeah, there's some decisions I liked from the Supreme Court, but some of them I was disappointed, and that's often how it works. But overall, I think there's some really very powerful, positive decisions that cannot be ignored.
Well, let's talk about the just the citizenship, okay? And what I thought was interesting in Kavanaugh's opinion, he said it wasn't against what they want to do wasn't necessarily against the Constitution, but it was against a current statute. And he didn't say this, but my feeble little mind, all you have to do is Congress needs to change the statute, correct?
Yeah, that was Kavanaugh's position, and that it could be statutorily, amended and resolved regarding tourist pregnancies and baby births, and I think that's actually where this is going to go. I think at least the Republicans are going to try to do that. The Democrats may resist it because they want as many illegals to come into this country as possible. They see that long term as their best hope to taking over the country.
Yeah, I got it. I think it's amazing, and they took hits in other places, but nothing major enough, as far as I'm concerned, to really make them to help us. And I think that right now, when you look at what went down, like with the voting, I mean, how many months after they cast a vote do they have to send it? You thought we had that one, didn't you?
Yeah, that was a big disappointment. That was actual disappointment. I thought they were going to respect Election Day as just that, Election Day, and instead, Amy Coney Barrett, she looked at the election and she said, "Well, actually, it's when people vote. So as long as they filled in their, mailed their ballot on or before Election Day, and there's a postmark or a barcode to show it, then no harm, no foul." Well, The problem that we have, though, which was not addressed by the court, is what we have in California, where you have massive amounts of thousands of mail harvesting taking place. There's no postage stamps. There's no barcodes, and it opens the door to tremendous fraud that we have here in California. The good news, because it was not addressed, it's something that can be addressed later on, and I think that it would have a chance of passing based on how the court, reasoned their decision to allow for ballots to continue to come in on the condition that they were postmarked and we knew the day that it was actually mailed, which was on or before the election day.
Right. And I know that there's some conversation around Trump using the postal service to not deliver ballots unless you can prove they're from a citizen. I don't know how far that goes or where that goes, frankly.
Yeah, actually, it makes a lot of sense, though. I mean, if we had the technology to be able to look at a ballot and have it immediately checked with maybe the barcodes, what have you, with the national register in terms of U.S. citizens, and if it turns out that that person is not a U.S. citizen, then that would make sense that it would not be counted, nor should it be counted.
I agree. I don't see, like I said, you're much better at this than I am, because I'm like so irritated, taken back by these 9 people that are supposed to line up everything with the Constitution. And I mean everything. And I'm not a constitutional scholar. And the stuff that I read and what I come to understand, it's funny because before these rulings came down, I started binging on Scalia again. And to hear him talk about these things, it's pretty black and white. His attitude is you shouldn't have to overthink it,
Yeah, and if we have the good news that if we have Congress willing to, pass the law to say, look, ballots can't count, and if they're received after Election Day, I think the Supreme Court would uphold that. I think Kavanaugh would be there, and I think they would also peel away one or both, either Roberts or Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah, what I really am enjoying though is how Clarence Thomas is the guy that was always the quiet guy on the court. He's been quite outspoken, hasn't he?
Oh, he definitely has been, and he's very articulate, and he's very deep in his thinking and understanding of the law and the Constitution and original intent. I think I think what he says is very well received, and some say actually should be recognized as historic in terms of his statesmanship.
Yeah, and some of this too is when you hear him talk about the 14th Amendment, he lays it. I mean, here's a black man married to a white woman, so I'm sure he's not racist. I'm sure he's not having these issues. And the bottom line with it is that he put Black history up there to explain what was going on.
Yeah,
when he was speaking to it.
Yeah, and he understands it. He really does.
Yep, I agree. He went back and looked at the at what the mindset was for this. He took into consideration it happened right after the Civil War. He took took all these things into consideration, and I think that's a big deal myself.
Yeah, well, that's going back to original intent, and the purpose of that language was to remedy the issue of the freed black slaves in America. For them to be able to have citizenship, and of course, according to the 15th Amendment, to be able to vote. And so I do believe that that this is very basic to understanding of the origins of and the purpose of that language regarding citizenship. So anyway, I think that there's maybe it'll be reviewed another day, but at the very least, we know Congress has the opportunity to correct things if the Democrats in the House and Senate do not somehow roadblock it.
We got to go for a break, and they want me to ask you, how do you redress this? How do you bring this back up? What will it take? So we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. Joe Messina, your host. Don't go far. Exciting, ain't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, I've never read so much in my life trying to figure out, understand, get a grasp on what's going on,
Oh yeah. No, exactly. I know there's just so much going on, and yeah.
I just don't know, again, people are asking me, first of all, how do you bring it back up? Let's start there, right? If they want to bring it back around again. And then, you look around at some of these other things that are happening around these cities, where you've got that one, what was it, Colorado, where they were basically riding naked in the streets and on the bikes there with little kids.
I didn't understand what you said. I'm sorry.
There was a group of people that were riding, for Gay Pride, last Gay Pride Day. They were riding in a naked in the streets. Okay, and I'm talking about with nothing but a boa wrapped around their neck. You know.
Yeah, that's sad.
No kidding. And scary.
Yeah.
Some of them, I don't. They have, they're 100 pounds overweight. They're not going to show.
So real quick, as far as remedying, are we talking about birthright issue, or are we talking about?
Well, I'll stay with the birthright for now, but it's
okay.
In all of these that they feel that there was something wrong with. Is there the potential? Is there the ability, or what? Well, how do you bring it back? I guess would be the better question.
Yeah, and yeah, so I think we can definitely talk about that. So, yeah.
You write myself some notes. I'm having all kinds of tech issues. That's why I'm kind of slow and taking back a little bit here. You think that's what Kavanaugh was doing? He was kind of going, this can be fixed?
How it can be fixed?
Well, Kavanaugh, when he said, basically that this is not a constitutional issue, this is a statute issue. And he didn't say Congress could fix it. He says that, the law just, it flies in the face of the law, not the Constitution.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the back door. That's what we're going to have to vie for, is legislation. And I think that could play a big role. I'll talk about that. We'll talk about that as far as citizenship and. Yeah.
Quite irritating, buddy. Irritating. So.
Huh?
Very, very irritating.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's going in here? Why can't I get that one working? I gave up. All right. Hold on. We're going back in. We are back at it again. Joe Messina, your host. Always a pleasure to have you with me. 855 Real Joe. 855-732-5563. Get involved, get engaged. Truly be part of the solution. Come on. I want you involved. I want you engaged. I want you to have a clue as to what's going on. Okay? And it's not that hard. All right. Brad Dacus joins us as he does every week. I always appreciate his time. I've asked him to come on a little earlier because of everything that's going on and all the SCOTUS rulings that came down. And man, Brad, they were like poured on us yesterday, weren't they?
Oh, yes. Definitely.
Yep. So all right, you know, people are asking me. I'm already getting a bunch of questions about how do you bring this back up. This can't be the finale, if you would, when it comes to pretty much really any one of them. The 14th Amendment, maybe even the voting. How long do they get to count the voting? People are
Yeah,
irritated.
yeah,
So
and I can see that. So as far as citizenship, and that goes in that issue, the Kavanaugh was right. There's the legislative door is still wide open. So Congress, assuming the Democrats don't block it and want illegals to come, Congress has the opportunity to pass laws that can limit visas, say, to pregnant women coming into the country, depending on, and they can have it apply to just certain countries like China, where you have over 1,000 different agencies that people can pay money to, thousands of dollars to come to America to give birth to their child. I mean, it's a racket, a total racket in communist China. So Congress can pass laws addressing that, protecting it. We need strong, political leaders like, Senator Thune needs to buck up and stop being sometimes, I think, a little wimpy, and not wanting to boldly address some of the issues like the Save America Act, et cetera, using the filibuster otherwise. So, or getting rid of the filibuster otherwise. So, but I think if we put pressure on Congress, I think we will see some legislation, ideally better than it's best before the election, because who knows who's going to keep the House and the Senate. I think the Republicans are going to keep the Senate, though. So, so I know I'm Mr. Optimist, but I do
no,
think
I hope you're right. I think they're going to even keep the House, but I don't think they're going to have it by much. And we're going to be the same thing over the next 2 years because nobody, absolutely nobody, will do what needs to be done to make this thing work.
But I do think there's a good chance that we could have legislation, protecting our country from those who come to the country just to have their baby, get citizenship, and then the mother and child go back to China, and then the child grows up, knows nothing about America, nothing about our language, and he can fly right on in, be a voting citizen, thousands and thousands. They can't be removed, but we can pass laws specifically addressing those who are, quote, citizens, but are not here and are not here for a certain period of time. There's a number of different angles that can be taken here to help protect our country and our interests from the communist Chinese in particular. So I think that that's something we're going to see addressed moving forward.
Yeah, now we just need somebody to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, there will be bills. There will be bills. I'm fairly confident of that, and I've already heard talk in that regard. So that's good.
Well, I hope so because you and I both have heard a lot of conversation. How's that? And yet they don't step up and come through the way they should. They don't do the things they should be doing to make it work. And it just drives me nuts. It's like, tell us you're not going to spend the political capital. Tell us you're not going to do it. And then we don't get our hopes up waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, correct. Like the Save America Act. I think that's a classic example where the Republicans could do it. They could pass it. They could suspend or revoke the filibuster completely. They've already done it partially with regards to appointment of judges and justices. In fact, that was started by the Democrats, Senator Harry Reid of Nevada, regarding Supreme Court appointments, and then the Republicans just extended to the other federal judges. So we've already seen a pullback from the filibuster powers already, and I think that it would make total sense with something that is intended to protect the integrity of our elections and the future of this country. It's worth the political capital, as far as I'm concerned. Apparently, the Senate Majority Leader Thune likes to play it safe and doesn't have the backbone to do what needs to be done to help preserve and save the integrity of this nation, our election process. We'll have to wait and see.
Do you think that Roberts is throwing a bone to the Dems or are trying to make it so it doesn't look political, giving them some wins? What do you think?
Yeah, actually, that's been a problem with Roberts because he's advocated saying, "No, we're not partisan. We're not part. No, we're not partisan." So it's like he is sensitive to something he has no business being sensitive to. He needs to be like his predecessor and Chief Justice, and where the focus was on what does the Constitution say? What's reality? What's the law? Not how people are going to perceive it. How we're going to be liked. And that seems to be what Roberts partially goes on. And that's very, very disturbing. If you looked at the Constitution, looked at the original intent of the 14th Amendment, we'd have a different decision, and that's a real shame.
Yeah. Again, like I said, looking at these rulings, I'm trying to go through them as a regular person, and it's kind of tough at times. Let's go to the Hawaii law now. The what was it, Wolford versus Lopez, 6-3 ruling, and it's against the Hawaii law not allowing individuals to carry guns without permission onto private property that's open to public, such as grocery stores, gas stations, hotels, right, all of that. And they voted that was unconstitutional, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and I think that's very important because they were trying to drive a wedge between the rights of property owners to put a burden on them, and at the same time limit the ability for people to exercise their Second Amendment rights, the right to bear arms. It's not own arms in their home. No, bear arms. And so I think it was the right decision. Property owners, it's up to them to decide if they want to post a sign saying gun owners are welcome, or people bearing a gun are welcome or not welcome. That's up to the property owner. That's not up to the state of Hawaii to put a burden one way or the other, or to presume one way or the other. On behalf of property owners, that's up to them. And people have a right to bear arms. And this is a cheap attempt by radicals in Hawaii to try to prevent people from having concealed weapons to protect themselves. When I go into Texas, in a Walmart in Texas, I feel so safe because I know there are lots of people with concealed carries all throughout that store, and I have nothing to worry about. They're going to protect. No one's going to come in and with the gun start shooting stuff because they're going to be
shooting that place up. Now when you know there's a guy, you don't even know how many guns he has on him, let alone knowing that he has a gun.
Right, but if I go to the San Francisco Bay Area and I'm in a Walmart, I'm a little apprehensive because I know I don't have that kind of citizen protection around me, and who knows what could happen, and who would be there to contest the crime that might take place. So the right to bear arms really is a protective for not just the people bearing arms, but also for community, and it actually does prevent criminal activity when it is commonly understood that a community has a lot of people with concealed weapons.
Yeah, what's funny was when they were talking about there's been a lot of conversation on the talk shows and all of that, and they keep pushing on the fact that this was put in place for a well-regulated militia, right? And are they in need of a militia now? And some of the lefties were saying no, but I was screaming at the TV set. They wouldn't listen to me. So I kept saying, look, who was the militia? Back in the Revolutionary War, back when this happened, who was there was no formal military at first. The militia was your neighbor, was you if you had a gun, the guy across the street, right? I mean, the militia was the people, was it not?
You're absolutely right. In fact, the militia often was a church congregation. The pastor at a Presbyterian church would take off his robe, he'd have his uniform on, and say, "Okay, all who want to join my brigade that I'm forming now, step outside." And the congregation, the men would say goodbye to their wives, and they went off and fought in the Revolution. So, no, it's the ability for we the people to have the final say if government becomes corrupt. And
we gotta go for break. Gotta go for break. Gotta pay for the show. Be back in a minute. People, don't go far. All right. God bless.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear you.
It's all right. You're not the only one that has that challenge with this. So I got to get some of this fixed and updated. It's going to take a little bit.
Yeah, I heard some noise in the background or some mumbling, and I thought, okay, that's the signal to get off. So,
Honor system border. What's this?
but you know, the right of Trump to hire and fire
Yeah,
agencies.
let's talk about that one too.
That's extremely powerful. That's a huge game changer. Of all the decisions, that was the strongest in terms of its long term impact. So yeah, it's as far as like draining the swamp. I mean, that's what they should call it, the drain the swamp decision. You know, it's great for presidential empowerment. So, which we may not like it in some ways in the future, but at least when we talk about it. So yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, but not the feds though. You can't touch them.
The fence?
The feds, not the feds.
Oh, the feds.
Yeah. Because it's not technically an arm of the federal government.
Oh, the Federal Reserve. Yeah. You're correct.
Sorry.
You're correct. No, it's distinguished. It is, and actually I was very pleased with that decision. Regarding Lisa Cook, she may have won the battle, but she'll lose the war. She just simply has a right to due process, but she hasn't been vindicated, and she won't be. She should be ashamed of herself. So we can talk about that too if you want, and then of course the girls sports, protecting girls against boys coming in and competing in girls sports. If you want to talk about that, we've been actively involved. I guess we did already talk about that. I guess I'm trying to remember.
Which one?
The girls sports, boys and
oh yeah, we do have to talk about that next.
Yeah, that's a big one. We played a big role in that from the beginning, actually. So.
Yeah, but boys and girls sports. Hold on one second. I'm not as excited because my understanding of that is it's aimed at the states. It's you can't stop a state from putting a law into effect that keeps boys out of the girls' sports, but not a school board.
Correct, but we can talk about the precedent though with why it could go beyond that, and they didn't do what I wanted to do. They kept it narrow, which is what most people were projecting. But I can talk about why what they decided is actually an incredible, strong step in the right direction for our litigation purposes. I can talk about that. That's good.
Yep. We'll run through them all, and I'll just let you run with it.
Yeah, thanks.
You home this week? Most of the week?
Yeah. I was gonna go to DC, but my wife and I decided no, let's not. So.
Oh.
Yeah, I had a vision of this terrorist attack, and I decided I better stay. No, I'm teasing. I just it's just hectic. So we decided not to go.
You see the Texas legislature trying to change the history books to show the Islamic influence on the country in the beginning.
I think they corrected that.
No, it was they tabled it at one point, and I told people, I said, it doesn't mean it's gone. It just means they're taking a rest.
Adopted it. Is the legislature or the Texas Board of Education adopted that?
No, they tabled it for the moment.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's not coming back. It's not going to come back. They have a 2-to-1 majority on the State Board of Education that they have there, so they'll be fine. It's called the Texas Board of Trustees. I testified there for 3 days on different proposals. So yeah, really and that was one of the things we weighed in on.
Well, I hope you're right. It's ridiculous. All right, here we go. We are back at it again. Joe Messina, your host. Always a pleasure to have you with me. 855 Real Joe, 855 732 5563. Let me bring him back on again. Always love it when he's with me. Brad Dacus, founder of Pacific Justice Institute, joins me as he does every week. And I do appreciate the time he is with me. And Brad, again, thanks for being with me. And thanks for being so knowledgeable that I don't have to second guess and, all that stuff. So thank you.
Well, I do my best. Thank you.
Yes. And you do, my optimistic friend. So, and there's a lot, and it is very confusing. People are right; they don't quite get the terminologies, and guys like you can come on here, get it, boil it down to sixth-grade English for us, so we can do it, we can understand it, we can work with it. So, you were talking at a break, we were talking at a break, and you said one of the most important things that was supported is the right to hire and fire, right? From the alphabet groups. Why is that so important?
Yeah, you were talking about girls' sports, correct?
Oh no, I was gonna hit that next. No, I'm talking about Trump's right to hire and fire.
Oh,
From
Trump's
these.
rights. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, yeah, the president, in the past, we were talking about a decision that goes all the way back like 100 years ago, in the 1930, in the early part of the Depression, where the Supreme Court held that the president can be limited from hiring and firing people who are in certain bureaucratic positions and on commissions like the Federal Trade Commission, et cetera, which really ties the hands of the president to be able to do their job. When you have a CEO of a company, you don't tell them, yeah, you can hire and fire, but not these people, not these people, not these people. You do that, you don't have a strong, efficient, functioning business. Well, the same principle applies to the United States. And the Supreme Court said there's only 3 branches of government, not 4. There's not a bureaucratic, agency. No, just 3. And you have to fit in one of the 3: judicial branch, congressional branch, the legislative branch, or the executive branch, which the president heads up. And the bureaucrats fall under the executive branch. Hence, the president, chief executive, has the authority to hire and fire under the executive branch. This is very empowering to the president to be able to do what we, the people, voted for him to do. And when you have bureaucrats who can stand in the way, well, they're standing in the way of our ability as a nation of the people to be able to vote into office those who are going to do what we want them to do, and not have it stonewalled or prevented by some bureaucrat who is not elected. So this is very, very significant. I think it's probably one of the most important decisions that came down from the Supreme Court. It's very revolutionary, yet it's very constitutional, and it's going to give the president the proper power under the Constitution, and we'll be able to hold the president even more accountable, one way or the other, because they will have the ability not to to blame it on some bureaucratic agency. No, they'll have the authority to do what they need to do.
Well, I hope you're right. Seriously, I hope you're right, because this is getting old. I just, when the president gets in there, for him to be stuck with people that don't share his ideology, come from an administration before his, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, one of the reasons we have a president and vice president from the same party is because they tried allowing people to vote them in, each one individually. And then what happened is they ended up with a Democrat and a Republican. And you couldn't have people that were on, opposites ends of the planet. So they said, well, this is not going to work. And they changed it. They fixed it. They made it right. We're fixing nothing. We're so polarized. We can't fix anything, no matter what it is, can we?
Well, it seems that way. But I will tell you, this decision by the Supreme Court is going to fix a lot. And I'm very, very pleased with it. we need to celebrate the Constitution being respected, and that's exactly what the Supreme Court did. At least the majority that respect the Constitution, 6-3, I believe.
Wow. So we'll see. We'll see ultimately how that plays out. All right, let's go with boys and girls sports. I got excited when I saw the headline, but then I went and read it, and it said basically states have the right to keep transgender females out of sports. In other words, not let people that were born as male play in the female sports. Correct?
Correct. And I was hoping they were going to be broader in applying Title IX or even the Establishment Clause of the 14th Amendment, and say it applies to all 50 states. But generally, the Supreme Court will rule cases narrowly as possible. That's what they did here. But here's what's so important, and people miss this. The other side, in filing this lawsuit, said it violates the Equal Protection Clause, because the Equal Protection Clause is about gender and your self-identity, which therefore it applies to trans, gender confused people. And the Supreme Court said, no, the Equal Protection Clause, as far as gender, it applies to sex, biological sex, period, case closed. Then the other side argued, well, it violates Title IX because it protects, gender, and of course, gender is also, how you perceive yourself. And then the Supreme Court said, no, Title IX defines gender as sex as biological sex, period. Case closed. And so in filing that lawsuit, what the opposing side effectively did is really shut the doors on them for the long term, because they will not be able to ever use Title IX or the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause to argue for trans rights and gender confused rights. It's something now that our side can use in the blue states to challenge the constitutionality of allowing biological males to compete in girls sports, which on its face can be argued as a clear violation now of Title IX, now that we know exactly how the Supreme Court is defining Title IX to protect girls in girls sports. So it's a broader win than people recognize at this point, and it also gives the president and the administrative branch all the more authority to enforce conditions on federal funds going to school districts based upon this policy of protecting girls and girls sports in blue states. So you just stay tuned, but we're going to see this play out even more, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I hope you're right, buddy, because I'm sitting here chewing on my fingernails, and I'm thinking to myself, my God, there was such an opportunity here to really, set I don't know, what do you want to say? Set the stage, set what's going on, and make sure that we were having the right thing done. We had the right people in place, and the president got to actually, enforce and use the power that he's given by the Constitution. And I think that's what's going on right now. He doesn't have the ability. He may not even know everything, but he doesn't have the ability to truly use the Constitution to its fullest.
Yes, you're correct, and I am like I said, I think this is going to be a great decision we're going to see as a precedent moving forward. The story's not over, and definitely not over on this question of protecting girls and girls sports in blue states with Governor Gavin Newsom and his likes, who have very little respect for girls and girls sports, and who would rather bow the knee to this new radical gender confused, gender distortion agenda.
I don't know. I'd ask you, but you and I are on the same page, and I've heard it a million times. It's like, how did we get here? How did we allow this to happen to the education system? How did parents allow this to happen with their kids? They kind of blew it off and think they're going to grow out of it. It's not going to happen. Right? Look at it. It hasn't happened, and it sure as heck is not going to happen, So, I don't know. Brad,
well,
you're a stronger man. You're a stronger man than I. Let me tell you what. So.
Well, I do believe this has been a wake-up call. We already see politically and in terms of the polls that the trans movement is moving in the reverse direction. In fact, even this last June, we saw very few radical LGBTQ flags and propaganda on display compared to the year before, and even before that year, the prior year. So I do believe that America is waking up and deciding, hey, this is nonsense, and we're not going to sign off on this, and we're going to see it played out legislatively, I believe, inevitably. And the Democrats are really in a bad position because they actually would have been better off if the Supreme Court had made this apply to all 50 states, because it'll no longer be an issue. It's a losing issue for the Democrats. But because they limit it to the 29 states that have just passed that law protecting girls and girls sports, it's still an active issue, and it's still something that can be played against the Democrats this November. Politically, it was not good for the Democrats, and the Republicans will be using it as an issue against them this November.
Yeah, there was. I didn't get to go through it. And maybe you touched on it, but there was another thing they gave an opinion on, which was donating money to the Republican and Democrat. What the limits were?
Yes.
They lifted the limits. They said there'd be no more limits. Correct?
Correct. And this is not about suddenly billionaires coming in and controlling elections. Billionaires already have the ability to form a political action committee and do their commercials and everything they want to do. We all know that. We've seen it. We saw it last election for governor. So this is about free speech and the ability for people to invest in what they believe in and what they want to support. And that's how the Supreme Court saw it. And I think it's going to be a big win for freedom and individuals to express themselves.
All right. I'll tell you guys more about Pacific Justice in the next hour. You got to know about it. You got to support it. You got to be there with them. Brad, God bless for coming on. People will be back in just a little bit. Let's see. That's exciting. There you go.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I talked about all these cases on my show today. So.
Oh, good. Good.
I had a guy who's a Christian businessman. I said, okay, we're not going to talk about what you do. We're going to talk about the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court decisions. The last 4 minutes we talked about what he does in his ministry thing, and he just. But I said we got to talk about these decisions. So, yeah.
All right, sir. I will get back to you. I always appreciate your time with me, and thanks for coming on with short notice.